if you had asked me, I would have said I was scared and it was troubling and I was looking down the barrel of the gun in a lot of ways. In hindsight, you realize that those are the moments that are kind of the formative experiences that shape your development, shape your
How
growth.
does a person answer why something happens?
When you look at the findings in different fields,
Scant is the part of life in which we live.
To attain the highest values.
A recent guest brought up a similar thing about the importance or how much he learned from just being in a room with people that smarter than him or more successful. How much of a role did that play as well for you in that time at Stanford?
It's absolutely true. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, is the saying you always hear. And I think it's totally true. You want to surround yourself with people that are better than you, that are smarter than you, that are more well-read than you, that are deeper than you in whatever field. That's how you learn. That's how you grow, is from being in those situations. And Stanford was my first real feeling of that, where I went from being a big fish in a small pond to being a small fish in a big pond. I wasn't as smart as everybody else. I definitely hadn't tried as hard in school as everyone else. I wasn't as good at baseball as everyone else. I mean, I really was thrown into the deep end, and it was an incredible experience because of that. And at the time, if you had asked me, I would have said I was scared and it was troubling and I was looking down the barrel of the gun in a lot of ways. In hindsight, you realize that those are the moments that are kind of the formative experiences that shape your development, shape your growth.
And at the risk of touching on a cliche here, how much of the time, this is the last point on the university side of it, but how much of what you learned are you applying now? And how much of it was more you learning how to learn and then, making the connections and also realizing hard work, the importance of hard work?
Yeah. I think in hindsight, I don't use much of what I learned in my classes on a day-to-day basis. I think there are general learning principles that are very important, and understanding the basics of these different fields is critical. In hindsight, I would have gone and learned the basics of coding as an example. I didn't do that, and that's unfortunate. And I think there are practices in the engineering studies and in computer science, certainly, where it is critical. And people that are engineers, computer developers, etc., are using what they learned in school on a day-to-day basis and the foundation building. For me and for economics and some of these other, softer fields potentially, I think it's much more about the learning frameworks and learning how to learn, as you said. And then even more importantly, the college experience, so much of the value of it is the people who you're around, the friends you make, the relationships, the networks, and the weak ties, not just the strong ones. You have your great close group of friends, but also the people that you realize were in your dorm that you never really connected with, that then 10 years later, they're doing something cool and you get connected with them. And there's that power of weak ties is immense. And so I think it's, look, I'm a big proponent of the disruption of traditional education systems, and I could talk all day about that, but I fundamentally believe that something needs to change in the world of higher education. The amount it costs, how prohibitive it is for most people to attend a lot of these institutions. I think it's a travesty. I think something needs to change, and hopefully the walls of credentialism will continue to crack and fall, and we will have more evenly dispersed opportunity globally in the future.
Yeah.